What's up, people? Welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you've got some really nice things planned for the weekend. The sun is shining here in the UK, so I'm feeling especially positive today. And as always, we have an absolutely massive show for you guys this morning. So please make sure to smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. And let's jump straight on into it. So on the show this morning, we're going to be talking about Donny van de Beek. We're going to be talking about Fred. We're also going to be talking a little bit about Amrabat and talking about where we're at with that deal. We're going to be talking about Harry Maguire. We're going to be talking about a new second potential striker, which I think is a really, really interesting one. We'll also be talking a bit about Amad Diallo, about his injury. We've got so much to get into on the show today, guys. So do make sure you jump in the comment section. Do get involved with the show. I do try and make it as interactive as possible. So do let me know if you are watching. But let's start off with some positivity. I do always like to start my shows with a bit of positivity just to get things moving in the right direction. So late last night, Fabrizio Romano came out and has confirmed that Manchester United have now signed Rasmus Hojlund. He says the following: Rasmus Hojlund has just signed his 5-year contract with the option for a further year as new Manchester United player. Done, signed, sealed. So Rasmus Hojlund is an official Manchester United player now. We are expecting the pictures of him in the shirt and all the rest of it tomorrow at the game at Old Trafford against Lens, but it is all done. His medical is complete. He has signed the contract. Rasmus Hojlund is officially a Manchester United player. That has now been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. The deal is worth £60 million up front, with around £4 million in what are being described as achievable add-ons, and then a further £8 million in what are being described as difficult add-ons. We're not exactly sure what those add-ons are at this point. I will try and get a bit of clarity on that and bring it to you in the next kind of few weeks. But from what I understand, the initial £4 million are really, really easy. So it might be he has to play 20 matches, which, you know, 99% is going to happen. And then the other £8 million are being described as maybe winning a Premier League, winning a Champions League, that kind of thing. But yeah, we're not sure exactly what the breakdown is at this point, but he is a Manchester United player. The contract has been signed by both parties. So I'm really, really happy about that one. Let me know in the comment section how you're feeling about this transfer. I know it feels like it's dragged on for months and months and months, but I'm just so happy that we have him now, and I'm just really, really hoping that he plays on Sunday against Athletic Bilbao, in I think it's in Dublin, isn't it? So yeah, we will be doing a watch along for both of those games. We'll be live for the game tomorrow against Lens, which is a 12:30 UK time kickoff. We'll probably go live about 12 o'clock for that one, and then we'll also be live on Sunday for the other game against Athletic Bilbao. And we are hoping that he will feature in this game. I don't see why he wouldn't, to be completely honest. Like, he should feature in some capacity, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure at this point. But yeah, we will be live for both of those streams, so do make sure you get involved. Yeah, so that's the positive, just to start the show off with. But let's crack on with the rest of it, because I assume everybody probably already thought that he'd signed, didn't they? Like, I think we got the here we go from Fabrizio over a week ago for Rasmus, and he's only just signed now, and the club haven't even announced it yet. Like, it is a bit slow, isn't it? But at the end of the day, Manchester United are just trying to get clicks, they're trying to get hype, and by bringing him out on the pitch tomorrow, it will generate a lot of hype. It will. I was at the game, the Leeds United game, where we beat Leeds 5-1. It was the first game since after COVID, right? So there hadn't been any football at Old Trafford for 2 years. And I went to that game, Leeds United, where we won 5-1. And in that same game, they brought out Raphael Varane before the match. Everybody before the game was saying, why the hell have they not announced him? Where is he? And I was talking to my uncle on the train up, and I said, oh, I bet you any money they're gonna bring him out before the match, and then they did, didn't they? And honestly, I watched a clip of that this morning, Raphael Varane being brought out at Old Trafford, and it actually gave me goosebumps. It really did. Like, that game was incredible. We went on an absolutely battered Leeds 5-1. But anyway, I get why they're doing it. It is very frustrating for kind of all of us fans who aren't going to be at the game. I don't really care, do you know what I mean? But for the ones who are going to be at the game, it'll be a very, very special way to welcome Rasmus Hojlund to the Old Trafford fans. I do get it, I do. But yeah, let's just hope they are working on deals behind the scenes at the same time, and they're not just putting all of their focus on this massive marketing event on Saturday. But anyway, let's keep things moving. Let's not dwell on that for too long. Right, let's talk about Donny van de Beek and Fred. Let's talk about these two double deals that look like they're going to happen. So this is coming in from Fabrizio Romano and a couple of other journalists in the UK, and apparently, so this is what Fabrizio says about Donny van de Beek. He says Real Madrid, Real Sociedad and Manchester United are currently locked in talks over the signing of Donny van de Beek. We're not sure exactly how much the deal is going to be worth at this point. Apparently, Manchester United are asking for around £20 to £25 million for Donny, which maybe sounds realistic to some of you, but I think that sounds a little bit ambitious personally. I think 15 to 20 would probably be a fair price for Donny at this point. Obviously, he hasn't played a lot of football over the last kind of 1 to 2 years. He is a good player. He's still only 26 years of age. I'm not really too sure. I think as long as we do get a fee for him, I'll be happy. As long as it's above 15 million, I think I'm happy with that. But do let me know in the comment section, how much do you think is a fair price for Donny van de Beek? It is worth noting that he's got 2 years left on his contract, so he's got a bit of time left. Manchester United paid 39 million euros for him, which is about... what's that, about £30 million roughly? So we're going to lose money on him 100%. But as long as it's not a loan move, I think I'll accept it. 15 to 20, I think, would be a fair price. Anything above 20 would be incredible. But personally, I can't see someone like Real Sociedad having the budget to be able to spend £25 million on Donny van de Beek, you know, because it all boils back to the wages. He's on absolutely crazy wages for somebody. For somebody to go to Real Sociedad, he's going to completely break their wage budget. Let's be honest about that. He's on 120 grand a week, which doesn't sound like a lot, you know, when you think Marcus Rashford is on nearly 400, but Real Sociedad are probably, their highest pay is probably half of that, you know. So to go and have to pay him 120 grand a week, Real Sociedad's highest earning player is David Silva, who is on 100,000 euros a week. So yeah, and what's 100,000 euros? 90,000 pounds. He's earning about double what most of the Real Sociedad's highest earners are earning. So I think anything between 15 and 20 for Donny would be a good price at this stage. But we'll keep you updated on that one. It does look like this one is advancing quickly, though. A couple of other journalists have actually said that the Donny van de Beek deal to Real Sociedad is currently more advanced than Fred leaving the club. So it looks like Donny will actually leave the club before Fred, which is a bit surprising because it did look like Fred would be the first one out of the door. But yeah. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you think will be gone first. I think it will probably be Donny, and then it will be Fred. Obviously, for anybody who missed the show last night, Fred to Galatasaray seems to be off. Fabrizio came out yesterday saying that apparently the deal between Manchester United and Galatasaray for the signing of Fred has fallen through and has ultimately been put on pause. You know what? I'm actually quite happy about that. I said this on the show yesterday. I think the amount of money that Galatasaray was offering was an absolute joke, to be completely honest. They were offering 5 million euros, 8 million euros, 10 million euros. Like, there is no way on earth that Fred should be going for less than 15 million pounds, in my opinion. What's that, about 20 million euros? 10 million euros is a joke for Fred. It really, really is. So I'm kind of in some ways happy that the Galatasaray to Fred deal has fallen through, because Fabrizio has said there are multiple other clubs who are interested in signing him. There's people in Saudi Arabia, Fulham. There was a couple of other teams. So for me personally, I'm not actually that bothered that he's not going to go to Galatasaray, because I genuinely think we can get a better fee for Fred than 10 million euros. I probably would... Maybe I was going to say maybe I'd rather keep him, but I'm not sure. 10 million euros is a joke. I think we can all agree on that, can't we? He's definitely worth more than 10 million euros. That's about 8 million pounds. That's so low. It really, really is. But yeah, I will keep you updated on that one as and when we get some news on Fred. But as I said, it looks like Donny van de Beek is more advanced at this stage, and it looks like he will be going to Real Sociedad. There is some murmurs saying that it might be a loan move. If it's a loan move, I'll be really, really disappointed. I'm not going to lie to you. I've said this many times to you guys before. I don't see the point in loan moves. I understand when it's a player like Amad Diallo, someone like that, young, or Hannibal. Great, send them out on loan. But Donny van de Beek, he's 26. He's played Champions League football. He's played for Ajax. He's played for Manchester United. You know, he's not a young player anymore. He should be in his kind of prime at this stage. So to loan him out is just a complete waste, in my opinion. So let's just hope that we do get some money for him, and let's hope that that deal goes through soon, because I want nothing more than to Donny to go off and succeed, because he is somebody I really like. He's really liked by the fan base. He does try his best. He is, you know, but it just hasn't worked out for him, and it is a bit of a shame, to be completely honest. And I said this on a show a couple of days ago that I genuinely would rather keep Donny van de Beek than McTominay. I would rather sell McTominay and keep Donny van de Beek, to be completely honest with you, because you know with McTominay you're going to get 30 to 40 million for him. And that's 100% profit because he's come through the youth academy. Whereas Donny van de Beek, if we sell him now, we're probably going to get half of what we paid for him to Ajax best. So for me, I would probably rather keep Donny and sell Scott McTominay. But obviously, it's not up to me. It's not up to you. And we trust our manager. And it does look like Donny van de Beek will be leaving. Fabrizio has said the following. He said, negotiations with Real Sociedad will continue in the next few days. He says Fred will 100% leave Manchester United. So Fred is as good as gone. It's just the formalities of which club will be buying him. Fabrizio has said he will 100% leave Manchester United. He said that 12 hours ago. And he said these are the crucial steps now for the Sofyan Amrabat deal. So at the end of the day, these two departures, outgoings, are what is holding up the Sofyan Amrabat deal. That's what's being reported. As soon as we get one of these people out of the club, then Amrabat will come in. That's what the general gist of it is. Manchester United don't want to be in a position where they've overspent and then they can't get rid of players, so they need to get rid of one of these players, and then as soon as they do that, they will then submit their official bid for Sofyan Amrabat. Right, we've got 500 people in the chat now, which is absolutely amazing. Massive shouts to everybody who is joining us this morning. Please do smash a like on the video really quickly, guys, and please do subscribe to the channel. It's completely free. It doesn't cost any money. We're live every single day at 8 a.m. UK time and 6 p.m. UK time, so make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell. We're only 60 subscribers away from 8,400, so let's see if we can hit that by the end of the video, and let's crack on with the rest of the show. Let me know as well what you think about that one. Would you be happy with Donny van de Beek going out on loan, or for you, does it have to be a permanent deal? Let me know if you agree with what I said. Let me know if you disagree. I always look forward to seeing you guys' opinions in the comment section below, so yeah, do get involved with that one. So yeah, let's jump over to Fred then. Obviously, as I just said, Fabrizio Romano says that Fred will 100% leave the club this summer. To be completely honest with you, I'm not sure where he's going to end up now. I think the thing with Fred is he's 30 years of age, right? And I think he still does have ambitions compared to, say, some other players. And I just don't really see him moving to Saudi Arabia. I think he can still play at a high level. I think he could play for a Roma. I think he could play for a Lazio. He could play for a club that are in Europa or the Conference League. I don't think he is at that level where he needs to go off to Saudi Arabia and ultimately retire. I think he can still play European football. He's still in the Brazilian national team, I believe. So maybe that's what's holding up this deal. Maybe Fred's ultimately like, I don't want to go to Saudi Arabia, He's not at that point, in my opinion. I think he's got a good couple more years in him before he needs to move off to Saudi Arabia. Galatasaray would have been a really good move for Fred. Really good move. But I think the end of it is, it all comes down to wages, doesn't it? He's on £120,000 a week, the same as Donny van de Beek. Very high wages for somebody who, as we said yesterday, Galatasaray's highest earning player is Dries Mertens, who was on about £90,000 a week. So if Fred went to Galatasaray, they'd have to pay him more than Dries Mertens, which they're not going to do, are they? So, yeah, that's what makes these deals difficult. And that's why people always get at me in the comment section and they say, why are you always so negative about the players' prices and stuff? And if anybody actually watches the shows, they know that I'm never negative. I'm not. But I try and explain to you why I give certain reasons. And the reason why we have to accept such small prices for players is not because they're not worth it. I'm not saying that at any point. The reason we have to accept such low prices is because of the wages, okay? If you're earning 150 at Manchester United and Everton says highest earning player is only 50 grand a week, Everton aren't going to give him 150 grand a week, right? So they have to either give them a big signing on bonus, or there has to be something, and that then has to be factored into the price of the deal. So when I come along and say, oh, we'll be lucky to get 15 million for Donny van de Beek, that's not because I think he's rubbish and he's not worth any money. It's because we've given him a massive wage. He's not in form at the moment, and no club is going to break their wage budget to buy Donny van de Beek and then give us 40 million for him. Do you see what I mean? It's the same with Maguire. It goes back to every single one of our players. So anybody who comes in the comment section and says, oh, why have you said Maguire's only worth 20 to 30 million? It's like, when you actually look at the whole deal, how much they'll have to pay him in wages, all the rest of it, that's why that we end up on these fees. And I know people will say, oh, well, that's not our problem. The other club need to pay whatever they want. But it is our problem, because at the end of the day, you have to factor in the whole deal, don't you? You have to factor in how much they're going to be paid in wages, what the signing on fee will be. Yeah, it's just how business works, isn't it? You can't just be like, I think he's worth 40 million. A club at the bottom of the Premier League should pay him 200 grand a week. Like, that's just never going to happen, is it? So that's where our issues lie with the outgoings, and that's why it becomes so slow, and that's why we will probably see people leaving for such small fees compared to what we all actually value them at, purely just because of the stupid wages that we've handed out to all of our players. But anyway, let's keep things moving. I just wanted to give a bit of clarity on that, because I get a lot of comments from people saying, oh, why are you saying he's only worth 10 million? He's worth 50 million. And I'm like, anyway, let's move on from that. Let's keep things rolling. So let's talk about Sofyan Amrabat, because I know this is somebody who a lot of you in the chat really like, me included. So we've had a couple of stories come out since we spoke last night. The first one is coming from Alfredo Padula, who is an Italian journalist. He's been really good around all of the Serie A transfers this summer, and he is reporting the following. Sofyan Amrabat's time is soon. There have been secret contacts between Fiorentina and Manchester United through intermediaries. So intermediaries will be like agents, representatives, etc. So this deal is really hotting up. It is, and as soon as the domino falls, as soon as Donny van de Beek goes, as soon as Fred goes, we will be putting in that official bid for Amrabat, believed to be around 20 to 30 million pounds, which I think is a really fair price. I do. But as I said, the key thing in this deal is one of those players has to go. Fabrizio Romano has says these are the crucial stages for the Amrabat deal. As I've always said, no bid yet. So we're literally waiting on outgoings. Once the outgoings are sorted, he will become a Manchester United player. He's waiting. He's rejected offers from Saudi Arabia. He rejected West Ham. West Ham put in a £30 million bid for him, and he said he didn't want to go there. Apparently, he's had lucrative offers from multiple clubs in Saudi Arabia being reported, but he doesn't want to go to either of them. He wants to come to Manchester United. He wants to reunite with Erik ten Hag, who he obviously used to be. He used to play for back in the Eredivisie. So this one, again, as I keep saying to you, is a matter of when, not if for me. We've just got to be very, very patient on this. Yeah, the difficulty is the selling of players. It is. That's the difficult bit here. We've done quite well on bringing players into the club this summer, I think. I'm quite happy with the signings. I'm quite happy with starting the season with a new striker, a goalkeeper and a midfielder. I'm quite happy with that. But in relation to the outgoings, it's been very, very slow. It really, really has. I know obviously Alex Telles has gone for 6 million. I know Elanga's gone for 15 million. But when you actually list off all of the other players we need to get rid of, Dean Henderson, Maguire, Eric Bailly, McTominay debatably, Fred, Donny van de Beek, Brandon Williams, there's probably another 7 or 8 players who aren't part of Erik ten Hag's plans and probably should be leaving the club this summer. We've got less than a month left of the transfer window. Will all those players go or not? I probably think not, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. Do let me know in the comment section, how many players do you think Manchester United still need to sell? Let me know the names. Let me know who you think. For me, all of those ones I just listed, I'd be happy with if they went. Obviously, some of them are maybe a little bit more tricky than others, like Maguire and McTominay. We would have to bring in replacements for both of those players. But if somebody like Brandon Williams left, we don't need to bring in a replacement for him. He doesn't even play. If somebody like Eric Bailly left, you don't have to bring in a replacement. You get the picture. The same with Dean Henderson. There are quite a lot of people who've been frozen out of the team who ultimately aren't even part of the plan whatsoever. So for those people to still be at the club this season would be an absolute disgrace. It really, really would. I can understand if Maguire stays and McTominay stays because they are part of the first team, whether you like them or not. They are part of the first team, playing squad. They are people who would need to be replaced. But the people like Henderson, Bailly, etc., like they all need to go 100%. There can't be any arguments about that for me personally. You sell them and then you reinvest that money in areas where we actually need players. You bring in another striker, maybe you bring in another midfielder. I don't know. You bring in somebody who's actually going to feature in the games because Eric Bailly, when was the last time he played for Manchester United? I mean, does anybody actually know when Eric Bailly last played for Manchester United? Let me know in the comment section. I'm going to have a quick look. Like, I genuinely can't remember the last time Eric Bailly played. It wasn't last season, obviously, was it? It was probably 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Like, it's been years and years and years since Eric Bailly played a game for Manchester United, hasn't he? So the last time he played was in 2021 and he played 4 matches. So yeah, he's played 4 matches in the last 2 years for Manchester United. I mean, that kind of says it all, doesn't it, to be completely honest with you? Yeah. Anyway, let's just hope that they do get these deals over the line and let's hope that people do start moving out of the club because that's the thing that's going to make or break our transfer window for me. I think if we have a really, really solid outgoings in the next kind of 2 to 3 weeks, I'll actually be quite happy with the business we've done. If only a couple of players leave, if it's just like Fred and Bailly, I think that would be really, really bad. I do. I honestly think we can get rid of up to 7 people this summer. It's just whether we have the kind of the staff who are capable of doing it. I know some people think that John Murtaugh's doing a really good job. I'm not really convinced at this point, to be completely honest with you. I think we have overpaid for quite a lot of players. I'm not being negative. I'm just giving my honest opinion. Obviously, we overpaid for Anthony. I think Malacia was a good signing for the price. I think Casemiro was a good signing, but we probably did overpay. I think Martinez was a good signing and a fair price. But then if you look to this window, I assume most people in the chat would say that we overpaid for Mason Mount. Onana was a good signing and a good price. Rasmus Hojlund, we probably overpaid a bit. You know what I mean? It's like, I wouldn't say that some people say that, John Murtaugh madness. And I'm a bit like, I'm not really too sure about that, to be completely honest. As I've said to you guys before, I would probably say that this window so far has been about a 6 out of 10 on the ingoings and maybe like a 2 or a 3 out of 10 on the outgoings. So if we can bump up the outgoings to maybe a 6 or a 7, I'll be pretty happy with the window so far. But generally, I honestly think that we need to get the Deadwood out of the squad. I know people don't like it being called Deadwood, but Let's change that then. Let's call it the players' surplus to requirements. Okay, let's be a bit more fair about it. And the thing that confuses me as well, just really, really quickly before we move on, is we've brought in this guy called Matt Hargreaves, who is the head negotiator apparently. But then we're still hearing that that John Murtaugh is apparently still negotiating some deals. So I'm not really sure how that whole dynamic is working, to be completely honest with you. It's a little bit confusing because John Murtaugh was out on the tour of America, and then there was a comment that came out saying that apparently he had to go back to Manchester to try and complete the Rasmus Hojlund deal. And I'm thinking, haven't you just brought in this other guy to do the negotiations? So why are you getting involved? But anyway, I don't really know how the hierarchy at Manchester United works. It does confuse me a little bit, to be completely honest, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's move on. Let's keep things rolling. Right, let's talk about Harry Maguire. Obviously, this is one of those players who's on that list for me. Harry Maguire is definitely surplus to requirements. He's the 5th choice centre-back. He needs to leave the club. And there's a story coming out this morning saying that apparently Everton have leapfrogged West Ham in the race to sign Harry Maguire. And it goes on to say that Manchester United are willing to sell Harry Maguire. I'm not sure what to think about this, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, I can't see Harry Maguire playing for Everton. I can't. I think he'd be a good fit there. I think he'd do really well at Everton, but why is he going to leave Manchester United to go to Everton? Like, why would you do that? Let's be very honest. It probably is his levels, though. Like, Everton are probably the type of club that Harry Maguire should be playing and starting for, but I really don't see why Harry Maguire would go from Champions League football, £240,000 a week playing for the biggest club in the world, to go and play for Everton, who are probably going to be fighting a relegation battle. Like, that just doesn't seem very realistic to me. So I think that one we can probably put in the bin. Obviously, Everton might want him, but I just can't see Harry Maguire agreeing to go there, to be completely honest. Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But yeah, let me know what you think Harry Maguire's best or most likely destination is going to be. For me, I still think that West Ham are going to come back in for this second bid. We've had a couple of journalists come out in the last 24 hours or so saying that that David Moyes is really pushing for Harry Maguire and he really wants him at the club, and that they are exploring a second bid. The thing is, right, with West Ham, which I don't really understand, apparently they haven't signed a single player this summer. Not one. I mean, imagine being a West Ham fan. They haven't signed a single player. And there's a story coming out from Duncan Castles that I wanted to bring in. This is about West Ham, and apparently West Ham's technical director has blocked David Moyes' attempts to sign James Ward-Prowse, and he says that he's looking for cheaper alternatives. So people are probably thinking, why are we talking about James Ward-Prowse? He doesn't play for Manchester United. But the key thing is here, West Ham had offered £30 million to Southampton for James Ward-Prowse, right? And the bid was rejected. Apparently, West Ham's technical director has now blocked that transfer, saying that he wants a cheaper player than 30 million. So I'm not really sure how we're gonna get, sell McTominay to them if they're not even willing to pay 30 million for James Ward-Prowse. It goes on to say that David Moyes is bemused by the transfer strategy after delivering a European trophy last season. So, yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen there. It looks like if you're a West Ham fan, I feel very, very sorry for you. You've just sold your best player. You're about to sign your marquee signing, Skamaka, the striker. And by the looks of it, they're not going to even sign anybody at this rate. They're moving very, very slowly. Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly to make of that. I think the only way that Harry Maguire goes there is if maybe they come back to the table and we agree something around 25 to 30, including add-ons, something like that. I can't see them offering the 30 to 40 that Manchester United want, to be completely honest with you. Based off that quote that's just come out saying that the technical director of West Ham won't even spend 30 million on James Ward-Prowse. I mean, that kind of says it all, to be completely honest with you, doesn't it? A little bit weird, to be completely honest. Right, let's keep things moving though. We've got over 600, we've got nearly 700 of you in the chat this morning, which is absolutely amazing. Please do smash a like on the video if you haven't already, everybody, and please do subscribe to the channel. I've just dropped a link in the chat to subscribe. And if you want to join the members club, or if you want to do super chats and all the rest of it, if you hit the $sign, yeah, you can find all of those things there. Any support is of course massively appreciated. So yeah, do get involved and join the members club if you are in a position to do that. Right, let's keep things moving. Let's talk about Brandon Williams really, really quickly. So Miguel Delaney has come out saying the following: Leeds United are considering a move to sign Manchester United's Brandon Williams on a permanent transfer. Again, he's another player who is on my list of people who definitely needs to be moved on. He's not a bad player, but I just don't think he's ever going to be good enough for Manchester United, to be completely honest. He had a couple of glimpses, didn't he? Was it under Ollie or under Ragnick? I can't remember, but there was a period where he played quite a lot of matches and there was some people thinking he was going to break through into the team, but he hasn't played properly for about a year, has he? I know he featured in pre-season, but he didn't look very good for me personally. So yeah, I think Leeds United would be a great fit for Brandon Williams. I think he'd do really, really well there. Obviously in the Championship, that probably is his level at this stage. Now, I'm not saying that he won't go on to be, play for a Premier League club in the future, maybe a lower table Premier League club, but he definitely isn't a starting left back for Manchester United. Malacia is better. Luke Shaw's obviously better. And I would even argue that Alvaro Fernandez, the really, really young Spanish left back we've got who's come through the youth academy, is maybe better. So for me, let's send him straight off to Leeds United, I think. That would be a really good move for him. I will, of course, keep you updated on that one as and when we get more news. We are seeing that it'll be worth somewhere around £5 million. That's what's kind of being spoken about. Around £5 million for Brandon Williams, which I think would be an actual pretty fair price considering he's come through the youth academy. It would be 100% profit. The same as Dean Henderson, that would be 100% profit. So by way of financial fair play, it would actually really, really help our books. I know £5 million isn't a hell of a lot of money, but it would still really, really help. So yeah, I think it would be a good deal for everybody. Let's hope that one happens for his sake and for our sake, because as always, I don't wish negativity on our players. I do hope they go on and have good careers. I do hope they go and achieve all of the things they want to achieve. But I just don't think that people like Brandon Williams are going to achieve what they want to achieve at Manchester United. They're going to be bench players at best. He wasn't even on the bench for a lot of last season, so I don't know what's happened there. Erik ten Hag clearly doesn't fancy him in the Manchester United squad for whatever reason, but it is what it is, isn't it? We move on. Let's hope that he is another person who is on the outgoings list this summer. I'll be pretty annoyed if it's a loan or if something like that. Like, we just need to cut ties with players like this, send them off, get a bit of money and move on. Right, let's talk about the centre-back position really, really quickly. So, obviously, we're heavily linked to this Jean-Claire Todibo guy, who, to be honest, until about a couple of months ago, I'd never heard of. I don't really watch French league football, to be honest. I watch a bit of Bayern Munich football. So, not Bayern Munich, a bit of Bundesliga. I watch a little bit of, obviously, I watch the Premier League. I watch some of the Championship, but I don't really watch the French league. And he is somebody who is quite highly rated within the fan base. I know a lot of you were really, really against Axel Disasi from Monaco, who looks like, well, has gone to Chelsea. Now, apparently Juventus had entered the race for Todibo, but have now pulled out. So there's a bit of a battle going on between a few clubs for this guy's signature. There's some people comparing him to Raphael Varane, and I've watched a couple of clips on him, and I don't really get that comparison, other than that he's French and other than that he's a centre-back. I'm not really that excited about it. I get it. If Harry Maguire leaves, then I assume Erik ten Hag will want to strengthen his centre-back positions, because he would just have Lindelof and he would just have Martinez and Varane. He'd only have three kind of proper centre-backs. But for me, I would just give Johnny Evans a year extension and know that Luke Shaw can play at left-sided centre-back. I'm happy with that. I personally wouldn't go in for Todibo. We spoke about this on the show the other day. I would go for Antonio Silva from Benfica. That would be my number one choice in the centre-back position. I personally wouldn't go for it. But let me know if there's anybody in the chat who is a fan of this Jean-Claire Todibo guy. Let us know. Let us know what you think about his game. Is he good enough to play for Manchester United? Do you think it should be somebody that we're prioritising to sign? Let me know what you think. Right, let's talk about the striker situation then. So we've been linked to this guy from Santos called he's called Marcus Leonardo. Again, somebody who I haven't heard of, but I did do some research on since we spoke last night. He's a 20-year-old Brazilian striker who obviously plays his football in the Brazilian league. He's in the Brazilian national team, the under-21s national team. He had a pretty good season last year. He got about 15 goals and assists in 30 matches. Manchester United are reportedly interested in signing him, as well as Roma. But the Santos director, the coordinator, the head of football, whatever you want to call him, has come out in the last kind of 24 hours or so saying the following: the conditions for the Marcus Leonardo deal are far from realistic. The proposal is way too low. There is no chance for the fee and the terms of the payment. I can't see how this can happen. So this is in relation to a 15 million euros fee that was being reported by a couple of journalists for that. So saying that apparently he was available for 15 million euros. And as I said, the Santos director of football has come out and completely debunked that story and said, for that amount of money, there is no way on earth that he's going to leave the club. So I'm not really sure about this one. I think it's one that, if it happens, I'll 100% back. We need a second striker, and I would be really excited if we started buying people from the Brazilian league before they get that big move to another club. But from what we're hearing, 15 million sounded about right for somebody of that age and that profile, but clearly they want more than that. So maybe it's one that we do avoid. But yeah, if anybody in the chat does know much about this Marcus Leonardo guy, please do let me know, because because he is somebody who is a new name to me. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I watch Brazilian football every single week, because I simply do not. Right, I will read out some of your comments as well in the second half of the show. So if you do have any questions, if you do have any topics you want to discuss, let me know in the comment section. Put the letter Q in front of your message, and I'll try and read out as many as possible. So yeah, get them in now so I can kind of look back in a little bit and focus on that. Right, let's keep things moving. Somebody in the chat is saying Lewis Dunk from Brighton is a good option. What does everybody think about that? Lewis Dunk. I'm not really sure about Lewis Dunk, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, not for me. He's a good player, but I wouldn't bother with Lewis Dunk. I mean, how much would Lewis Dunk cost? If we paid 80 million for Harry Maguire, they'd probably want 50 million for him, wouldn't they? Yeah. Somebody says, would Manchester United loan Victor Osimhen? I mean, I'm sure they would love to loan Victor Osimhen, but that unfortunately is never going to happen. There is no way on earth Napoli would loan us Victor Osimhen. That is a very nice idea, but I don't think that will happen, unfortunately, my friend. As much as I would like it to happen. Right, we've got over 700 of you in the chat now, which is absolutely wicked. Thank you so much to everybody who is joining us on the show this morning. We're 50 subscribers away from 8,400, so please do go and subscribe if you haven't already. I've just dropped a link in the chat to do that. It's completely free. Do get involved in the community. We're only 50 away from 8,400. Yeah, as people are saying in the chat, like, dealing with Brighton for a signing now is just it's just a recipe for disaster, to be completely honest, isn't it? You know, they want £100 million for Moises Caicedo, and they're not budging. They are literally not budging with Chelsea on that deal. And to be honest, I respect them for it. I do, because in the end, Chelsea are going to pay 100 million for him. They will. Chelsea will do that deal for 100 million. And I'm so glad we didn't continue, in that race for him. I'm so glad, because we literally would have just got absolutely ripped off. £100 million for Moises Caicedo. That is crazy. I appreciate he's a good player, but is he worth 100 million? I don't think so. I really, really don't. He's had, 1 or 2 years in the Prem? Crazy money. So yeah, I'm very happy that we jumped out of the race for Moises Caicedo. We went for alternative targets. If we can get Amrabat and Mason Mount for, say, £80 million combined, I'm much more happy with that than spending 100 million on Moises Caicedo. I do get it though. He is young. He is a very that type of profile who could go on to be a world-class player. I wouldn't say he's world-class at this stage, personally, for me. Somebody says, what about a loan for João Felix? I do really like Felix. I do. I think he would be really, really good at Manchester United. Obviously, we were heavily linked to him in the January transfer window, weren't we? We were literally supposedly negotiating with Atletico Madrid to sign him on loan. And then instead we went for Wout Weghorst because the Glazers didn't want to spend any money. And Atletico wanted some signing on fee and all the rest of it. The thing with Felix is the amount of money that they're going to want is going to be a lot for a loan. I was hearing it's about £20 million that they would want just to loan him for 1 year. I'm not sure if he's worth it, to be completely honest. I think if it was, no loan fee and you paid his wages, maybe. But 20 million up front just to loan him, and then you've probably got to pay him like, what's he on a week? Probably on 200 grand a week, is he? Let me just have a quick look for you. Yeah, I mean, he's on 280 grand a week. So you've got to pay him 280 grand a week plus pay Atletico Madrid £20 million. I mean, does anybody really want to do that deal? It would be about 35, 40 million pounds to loan him for 1 season. That doesn't make any sense for me personally. I would much rather go and get somebody like Taremi, maybe go and try and get Mohamed Kudos, maybe try and get this Marcus Leonardo guy. I would much rather sign somebody who's actually going to be here for the next 5 or 6 years, and we can try and actually retain some value on. Giving Atletico Madrid 20 million plus paying him like 15 million a year in wages, it just seems a bit of a bad move for me. He would have to come in and do incredible to justify that type of money, and I just don't think that he's going to justify 40 million pounds. As much as I think he's a good player, I just don't think that for 40 million pounds it makes much sense to be. Yeah, so Al says, I heard Chelsea paid a 12 million pound loan fee for João Felix. Yeah, and I mean that was only for half a season. I think what I saw was they wanted 20 million if it was for a whole season. Chelsea paid 12 million to have him for like 3 or 4 months. Plus they paid all of his wages. Crazy money. And let's be completely honest, do you think João Felix was a success at Chelsea? I know it was only half a season. I know it was in kind of Chelsea's worst ever season and all the rest of it. But he did make a bit of a difference, but I wouldn't say he came in and, lit up the Premier League. Let me know if you disagree. If you think he did, then obviously that's completely fine. But for me, I don't think he came in and made much impact, to be straight with you. Neil says, only go for players who love the badge. Yes, I completely echo that. I really, really do. And to be honest, what's he called? João Felix has already come out and said that he wants to move to Barcelona. He said that. He said his dream is to play for Barcelona. Fabrizio put out a quote the other day saying, João Felix has come out saying that his dream is to play for Barcelona. Like, I want to get people who actually want to be at Manchester United. I'm not saying that they had to support us since they were a child and they had, the Manchester United bed sheets and all the rest of it. I'm not going that far, but people like Amrabat, people like Rasmus Hojlund, people like Onana, they all want to come to Manchester United. Even Mason Mount, I think he genuinely wanted to come to Manchester United. Apparently his dad was a Manchester United fan. So yeah, that's the kind of deals I want to do. I feel like Felix would be a bit of a mercenary type signing. I'm not saying he wouldn't come in and try his best. I'm sure he would, but generally, I don't think it's the kind of deal we should be doing, for me personally. I think it's very short-sighted, and I've kind of had enough of those like Igalos, Weghorsts, Falcaos, all of these people we brought in who are just going to be here for like a year. It doesn't help the situation in the long run. Somebody like Mohamed Kudos, he could be here for the next 10 years. Somebody like this Marcus Leonardo guy from the Brazilian league, he'd be here for 10 years. We need to be doing more of those types of transfers. And I think this window, we have done quite well. Rasmus Hojlund, 20 years of age. He could be our striker for the next 15 years, in theory. Or say 10 to 15 years. So yeah, I personally wouldn't bother with Felix. As people are saying in the chat, he wants to go to Barcelona. So yeah, I mean, if he'd have come to Chelsea and absolutely lit up the league, got 20 goals in 20 matches, and, then yeah, go and give them the 20 million they want and bring him in. But that hasn't happened. So yeah, it's a no from me. But I do appreciate that he is a good player. And I do know a lot of you in the channel will really, really like that player. But for the amount of money it's going to cost, it's a no from me. Somebody says, Michael Carrick is doing a great job at Middlesbrough. Should he get some loaned players from Manchester United and the academy? It's a good opportunity for them. Yeah, I think that would be good. I really, really do. I guess it depends whether they want any of our players, though. We can't just force him to take some of our people, and it also depends on what's the best for our players' development. So we did speak about this one yesterday, but it looks like Hannibal Mejbri is going to go to Luton Town on loan, the newly promoted Premier League club. I mean, that is an incredible move. That is. And I think loans are so important when you're a player of that age, when you're of a really young profile, you're somebody who hasn't yet broken into the first team properly, and you need to get that experience. Obviously Ahmad went to the Championship last season. I'm not really sure who would benefit from going to Middlesbrough at this stage. Maybe, I mean, to be honest, maybe even Palestri would be good to be loaned out to someone in the Championship. Either the Championship or the Premiership. Those are the two places I would say for Palestri. I don't think we should be loaning him abroad. Right, let's keep things moving though. I will read out a couple more of your questions as well. So Joe says, Kieran, don't you think once Amrabat joins us, we've got our midfield covered? Because we have Amrabat, Bruno, Eriksson, Mason Mount, Mainu and Amrabat. Yeah, I would say once Amrabat comes in, we'll be sorted in the midfield. I do. But yeah. I am happy with that midfield. I am. I think once we get Amrabat, I think we'll be very, very solid. I think we'll be very difficult to break down. I don't think we'll see us getting 7-0 against Liverpool again with that midfield, purely because of how, aggressive, the work rate of it. When you go away to Liverpool and you've got people like Eriksson in your midfield, as much as I like Eriksson, you're going to probably get destroyed, aren't you? Eriksson is like the type of player who plays all these really nice passes and all the rest of it, but he's not very physical. You could probably just run straight past him. Let's be real. So yeah, I am happy with that. I'm happy with that midfield, yeah. Jamie says, I reckon we will get Amrabat news today at some point now that the Højlund deal is signed. Yeah, possibly. Fred says, has Eriksson got a future at Manchester United? Now, that's a really, really good question. I like that question. It's a very difficult question. For me, Eriksson's future is just as a bench player. I think he's a good bench player. I think he's an impact sub, somebody who can come on in the second half of a game and change matches, but I wouldn't be starting Eriksson for Manchester United anymore, personally. Unless, obviously, we get injuries. I think Mason Mount's better, Bruno Fernandes is better, Casemiro is better. And to be thinking about it, I probably would rather see Kobbie Mainoo get some game time this season if it meant Eriksson was on the bench. I would, because from what I've seen of Kobbie Mainoo in pre-season, what I saw of him in a couple of glimpses last season, He looks like the real deal. And Eriksen is aging. He is declining. His legs do seem to have gone a little bit. He can't play for 90 minutes anymore, you know? He works really hard for the first 20 minutes and then he just drops off. So I think as a bench player, he's an elite bench player. He really, really is. And that just shows our squad depth is improving. But yeah, for me, Eriksen's future is just as a bench player. I don't think he should start for Manchester United. Maybe in the League Cup, maybe in the FA Cup, yes, fine. But in the Premier League, you know, in really, really important matches in the Premier League, I don't think Eriksen is up to the standard that we need anymore. I think he's a little bit. His legs have gone a bit. That's just the black and white of it. You can play Eriksen at home against Bournemouth, definitely, but you can't play Eriksen against Arsenal or against Manchester City away from home. I just think that's why we got overrun so much last season. Right, what have we got? Somebody saying, what is the name of the striker Manchester United is going for? The guy that we're being linked to is called Marcus Leonardo. Go and have a look about him. He looks quite good. Jihan says, Luton Town will be great for Hannibal. He already plays for his country. Pellistri should stay as he makes impact every time he comes on. We should be building our midfield every season for depth. Yeah, I wouldn't have a massive issue if Pellistri stays. I would only be happy if Pellistri goes to a Premier League club or to a Championship club. I don't want him to go out to the Boca Juniors. I think that's a really bad move. I really do. But I guess at the end of the day, we've got to trust our manager. If he thinks that him going to Boca Juniors is a good move, obviously we can maybe think it isn't. But you know, maybe he knows. I'm sure he knows more than we do, doesn't he? So this is a good question. Thank you for the question, Max. Max says, one of our members, Max, says, do you think we will buy any more players after Sofyan Amrabat? I think we will, yeah. I don't think Sofyan Amrabat's going to be the end of our business. We apparently are putting in a bid for this goalkeeper from Turkey, the Turkish Fenerbahce goalkeeper. So that will be, I think we'll get another goalkeeper because obviously Dean Henderson will leave. And I think we will go for another forward player. I just have this funny feeling that we're going to go for Mohamed Kudos. I just have this feeling. I don't know why. I have this feeling that Ten Hag will go for another Ajax player, and I think it will be Mohamed Kudos because there was a story that came out, I think it was about a month ago now, saying that apparently Manchester United are looking for another player who can play across the front three positions, so somebody who can play on the left wing as a striker, as a right-sided forward, and that they were looking for two strikers this summer, not just one. We've got one already, but I do think we will go in for another one. I don't know how much Mohamed Kudos will cost. Anybody in the chat want to have a guess on how much he'd be worth? He is 23 years of age. Obviously had a really good season for Ajax last year. He's got quite a lot of interest. I think Chelsea are interested in him. Brighton are interested in him. Maybe even Arsenal as well. I reckon somewhere around £50 million would probably be the kind of money you'd be talking about. He's got 2 years left of his deal, so not a lot of money. They paid $9 million for him. I reckon somewhere around 50 million would probably get us Mohamed Kudos, and that would be my signing. I would go all out for Mohamed Kudos. I'd try and sell Harry Maguire, try and sell Scott McTominay, sell Dean Henderson, go and get Mohamed Kudos, go and get a backup goalkeeper, and then maybe get another centre-back, but only if it's the right one. I would go for Antonio Silva, or I'd go with Tomori. Those would be my two options. But yeah, let me know. If we can sign another player after Sofyan Amrabat, who do you think it should be? So let me know your opinions on who you would like to sign after Sofyan Amrabat. For me, it has to be a striker or someone who plays in those front three positions. The thing that's really, really good about Mohamed Kudos, and the thing that I really, really like about him, is he can play as a striker, a right winger, and an attacking midfielder. So he can play in three of those front positions. So yeah, it would definitely be Kudos for me. Somebody says, would you prefer a striker or Kudos? Kudos is a striker, as I just said. He can play as a centre forward, an attacking midfielder, or a right winger. So you're getting ultimately a player who can play in three different positions for the price of one. So yeah, I think he does tick all the boxes. I do. Somebody says, will Mason Greenwood come back? We did speak about Mason Greenwood quite a lot yesterday. My honest opinion is that Mason Greenwood will come back. Okay, that's not what I want to happen. That's just what I think will happen. I think Mason Greenwood will return to Manchester United. I do. We are expecting to know, put it this way, by this time next week, I reckon we'll know whether Mason Greenwood will be a Manchester United player. Fabrizio has said that Manchester United will announce whether he'll be a player by the time the Premier League season starts, which is a week on Monday. So yeah, but I do think he will become a Manchester United player again. I do. I mean, that could change everything, couldn't it? If Mason Greenwood comes back, then Mohamed Kudos, why would you sign Mohamed Kudos? You know, because Mason Greenwood's a striker. So maybe that is what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe Manchester United do see Mason Greenwood as the second striker. I mean, it is possible, isn't it? I honestly would not be surprised at all if this time next week we're seeing him in training. I know some of you in the chat will be really happy about that, and some of you will be really angry about that. That's obviously completely fine. You can have differing opinions. I've given my opinion on it many times before, but I do just have a feeling that he will come back to the to Manchester United. I think they've had many opportunities to get rid of him, and they haven't. So yeah, they wouldn't have dragged it on this long to then say we're releasing him from his contract. You know, they would have done that a very long time ago. So I do think all fingers are pointing towards him coming back to Manchester United. We've got nearly 800 of you in the chat now, which is absolutely wicked. Big ups to everybody who has joined us this morning. Please do make sure you smash a like on the video really quickly. And please do subscribe to the channel. We're only 20 subscribers away from 8,400 now. So let's see if we can hit that by the end of today's stream. That would be a really big achievement for the channel. We've set a target of trying to hit 10k subscribers by the time the season starts. So please do go and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will read out a few more questions. People are saying, would you do a poll on Mason Greenwood? I don't know about that. I don't think I will, to be completely honest. Obviously, you're welcome to get your comments in and give your opinions in that way, but I just don't really see the point in doing a poll about him, to be completely honest. I don't. So Red Devils United says, Kieran, do you think we will go for Taremi from Porto in the last few weeks of the window? I mean, I would have said yes, but now that we've just been talking about Mason Greenwood, Manchester United won't sign another striker if they get Mason Greenwood, will they? Because they've got another striker then. That's the kind of, not the issue, but that's the stumbling block. Why would we get another striker if Mason Greenwood comes back? We don't need one. We'll have two strikers then. Red Devils United says, Kieran, he's already asked that one. Yeah, so I'm not going to do a poll on Mason Greenwood. I just don't really see the point in it, personally. But obviously, as I said, you're welcome to get your opinions in the comment section. That's completely fine. As long as you are respectful about it, as long as you don't say anything like discriminatory, I have no issue with you getting your opinions in whatsoever. But yeah, it's not up to me or you. So we can have a proper chat about Mason Greenwood once the club makes their decision. Once they make their decision, I'm happy to do a whole show about it if people want to do that. But until then, I think we just need to wait until the club come out with their official statement. I've given my opinion. I think that they will bring him back. Now, I'm not saying whether I want him to come back or not. Anybody who watches the show regularly will know my stance on it. But I do think that he will come back. I do. I do think the club will decide to bring him back. Somebody says, why do we need a backup goalkeeper? We've got Tom Heaton and Kovar are both good enough as backups. I honestly don't know, to be completely honest with you. Ten Hag must just not be happy with those two people, you know? And we have to trust Ten Hag. If he's not happy with Tom Heaton, if he's not happy with Matis Kovar, then if we can sell them and bring in somebody else who Ten Hag likes, then obviously we should be doing that, shouldn't we? Joe says, don't you think we need to strengthen our left-back position? I'm not sure about that. I think Luke Shaw's an elite left back. I think Diogo Dalot can play at left back. Obviously, we've got Malacia, we've got Alvaro Fernandez. I don't think we do. I don't. I honestly think that all we need is another striker. That's what we need desperately. I don't think we need a left back. Maybe we need a right back. Maybe. Although I do like Wan-Bissaka and I do like Dalot. Red Devils United says, Kieran, who would you like to keep this season between Fred and McTominay, assuming both stay at the club? I would rather keep Fred. I would. Do you know why that is? Because McTominay, you should be able to get 30 to 40 million for. I'd rather sell McTominay, invest that in a striker, go and buy Mohamed Kudos, go and buy somebody else. Whereas Fred, apparently we've dropped the asking price to 12 million. I would much rather keep Fred for one season as a bench warmer than sell McTominay, 40 million in the bank, happy days. Yeah, so people talking about Matis Kovar. Yeah, apparently Matis Kovar has been put up for sale, so that must be why we're looking at this goalkeeper from Fenerbahce. Manchester United are willing to look at offers around £6 million for Matis Kovar. I don't really get it personally. I thought whenever I've seen him play, I thought Matis Kovar looks pretty good, but obviously Erik ten Hag's the manager. Maybe Matis Kovar has said that he wants wants first team football. We've got a bit of breaking news coming out here actually from Sky Germany. We have spoke about this player a couple of times on the show. Obviously it's a new show, so I will bring it out. It's coming from Sky Germany, which I guess is quite legit. So Sky Germany are reporting that Manchester United are set to make a stunning move for Bayern Munich midfielder Leon Goretzka. Obviously, Plettigol, the German journalist, had said the same thing a couple of days ago, and we spoke about it at length on this channel. And now Sky Germany are also saying it, that apparently Manchester United are looking to make a move for Leon Goretzka. I don't really get that personally. I don't. But, so what? Are we not going for Amrabat now? Are we going for Goretzka? I don't really understand, to be honest. I don't. We don't need Goretzka and Amrabat, do we? Unless, let me just paint the picture here. Imagine if Fred goes, Donny goes, and McTominay goes. Then you probably do need Amrabat and Goretzka, don't you? Like, if all three of those players leave the club this summer, Fabrizio said that Donny and Fred are 100% going. So, if you look at it like that, 2 midfielders are leaving, and then you're bringing in 2 midfielders. Like, maybe we do need Goretzka and we do need Amrabat. Because, we're replacing Donny and Fred with 2 better players. So, yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think about that one. This story does seem to be hotting up quite a lot. At first, I thought it was rubbish, but we've just had this Sky Sports Germany report coming out saying that they're going to supposedly put in a bid. If it's both of them, I'm happy. If it's one or the other, then I go for Amrabat 100%. I won't be upset if we get Goretzka and Amrabat. Imagine going from Donny van de Beek and Fred to Leon Goretzka and Amrabat. Like, that is a massive, massive improvement in our midfield. That is a huge improvement. So, yeah, I guess we are in the Champions League next season. It'll be a lot more difficult. Our team did really, really struggle last year. Casemiro, what happens if Casemiro gets red cards and stuff again? Bruno Fernandes was overplayed last season. Like, I do get it. Maybe we have 3 midfield positions and we've only got, really, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount and Casemiro. Those are the only 3 midfielders we have at the moment who are, like, of the level to play every single game in the Premier League. And some of you in the chat will even say, I don't think Mason Mount's very good. So what I've just said is arguably debatable. I know people will be screaming, what about Kobbie Mainoo? But Kobbie Mainoo isn't ready to be starting every game in the Premier League. So, yeah, maybe we do need both of them. I'm not really too sure. Yeah, if Fred and Donny go and we get Leon Goretzka and we get Amrabat, I'll be happy. I'll be very, very happy. But yeah, if it's one or the other, I'm 100% going for Amrabat. As always, do let me know. Would you rather have Amrabat or Leon Goretzka? You can only have one or the other. You can't have both. Let me know which would you prefer. The only thing that I don't like about Goretzka is his wages. He's on about £250,000 a week, which I thought we were out of that habit of really overpaying on players' wages. I think he's the highest earning player at Bayern Munich. Yeah, he's on more than that actually. He's on €350,000 a week. That's ridiculous, isn't it? It does sound like the kind of deal that the Glazers would do. So he's on 300 grand a week at Bayern Munich, Leon Goretzka. Like, I don't think that's a deal we should be doing. I really, really do not. 300 grand a week. But somebody did say in the chat the other day, like, we haven't done this kind of surprising marquee signing yet. And Leon Goretzka is, whether you like him or not, he is a marquee signing. He is a big name. He's a very, very famous player, all the rest of it. Yeah, I probably wouldn't. Somebody's talking about, what about Benjamin Pavard? Benjamin Pavard is somebody who I definitely would look at. Obviously, he is looking like he will leave Bayern Munich this season. The thing I like about Benjamin Pavard is he can play at centre-back and he can play at right-back, which would really, really help us, because I know some of you in the chat are saying that you don't think that Wan-Bissaka and Dalot are good enough as the kind of right backs. And if you did bring in someone like Benjamin Pavard, that does give you some options then in your kind of right back position. Jamie saying, what about a loan deal for Goretzka? I don't think it'll be a loan deal. I think it'll be a permanent transfer. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. As I said, I thought this story was rubbish, to be completely honest with you, in the first place. But we had Plettigol, who's obviously a really good German journalist, and now we've had Sky Germany also reporting the same story. So I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll keep you updated on that one. Yeah. Let's have a look. We've got 5 minutes left of the show, so do get your questions in. I will read out some questions now. So do get your questions in, and I will read out as many as possible. Anthony says, is our interest for Zion Suzuki dead? So in relation to Zion Suzuki, it looks like he will be staying in Japan until the Olympics. I think it's the Olympics next summer. And he's apparently turned down a move to Manchester United because he wants to stay in Japan and get first team football. You know, if he came to Manchester United, apparently we were going to loan him back out to somewhere. So it was a bit of a weird dynamic. A lot of people thought he was coming in to immediately compete with Onana, but apparently he was coming in purely to then be loaned back out to another club. So yeah, I'm not really that bothered about that one. People talking about a backup striker. Yes, 100% we need a backup striker, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, at this point, I do just think that this Goretzka story is probably him trying to get a new contract. That would be my opinion on it. Somebody says, do you see Benny McCarthy, the striker coach, improving Rasmus Hojlund? We need a few goals via headers and a variety of goals. Yeah, I do think so, 100%. I mean, Marcus Rashford has even thanked Benny McCarthy for his kind of performance last season. You know, he got 30 goals last season, and a lot of that will be because of Benny McCarthy and because of how good of a coach he has been at the club. Jamie says, if we can get both and we sell a few players... Jamie says, if we can get both Amrabat and Goretzka and we sell a few players, that is how we compete. Yeah. The thing is, as I've said, if we could get both of them, I think that would be good. But 300 grand a week, like, that's crazy money. It really, really is. It's a no from me. But if you have a differing opinion, then that's obviously completely up to you. Somebody in the chat saying, please make me a member of the show. If you want to become a member, then I'll put a link in the chat for it now. I can't do it manually. I've just put a link in the chat if you do want to become a member, to the person who's just asked. Right, I think we've gone through all of the topics for today's show, guys. So thank you so much for watching this morning. It's been a really, really good show today. Lots of positivity, lots of really good conversations had. I will be back at 6 p.m. UK time this evening. If anything breaks between now and 6 p.m, of course, I will go live. So do make sure you smash a like on the video. Do make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. This has been Daily Red Devil. I've been Kieran, and I'll catch you guys later. Lots of love and peace out.